just made more money in that day than I made in the last year and a half. I was so happy that I got fired for the first time. Honestly, when you get fired, normally it's not a good feeling, but I knew that I'd written a good essay and I knew that I could have just always find another job. I signed up for my real estate class, I think in February of 2021. And this was Real Estate University. I signed up with them, and then from there I started taking my classes, and then I just stopped showing up to all my college classes. Completely just stopped logging in, didn't do anything. I didn't even take my finals that semester. I think one big thing that people fail to realize is people think schooling and education are one and the same, and you can get an education anywhere. You don't need to rely on school to get your education.
So college is the biggest scam ever. Now that I'm a businessman, I can say that wholeheartedly because you could never go up to a bank with no credentials, no plan, no idea or anything, and go to a bank and say, hey, give me a loan for $160,000. I may be able to pay you back after 4 years.
Hey, my name is John Mendez and I'm your host. We are over 100 episodes into this podcast, so allow me to take you back in time to how this all started. I grew up in Stamford, Connecticut, in the projects with 9 people in a 2-bedroom. My mother battled with mental health issues and my father was absent. So my Dominican grandparents raised me. And when I say money was tight, man, I mean money was tight. Growing up, I always knew that waiting until 65 to retire wasn't for me. I wanted to become successful early. But deep down inside, I didn't know if it was possible because all I knew was poverty. In high school, I realized the old way of going to college, getting that 4-year degree, and racking up tons of student loan debt was an absolute scam. I also knew that I did not want to go corporate, but I wasn't aware of any other path beside the traditional track. Fast forward to fall 2020, COVID-19 has taken over the world. I'm in college taking online classes from home, and I randomly decided to go to Barnes & Nobles and I picked up 3 books. The first book I read was Rich Dad Poor Dad, and it made me realize that there was another way of viewing the world that wasn't being taught in school, wasn't being taught in my environment, but more importantly, wasn't being taught at home. I was never taught money, so I was broke. All I knew was that you had to work until you died, that the system was rigged, and that it was set up against people like us. About 6 months after, our boy Marcus was like, hey John, we should start a podcast. But he ended up going back to college. I had left college, so our schedules didn't match anymore. I started off dropping weekly episodes, and now we release a new episode every Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Time. I also share personal life lessons and stories from along my journey as well. I've been able to interview amazing entrepreneurs, thought leaders, and industry experts on the topic of entrepreneurship, mindset, personal finance, and overall what it takes to succeed. This show even helped my guy Darren gather the courage to drop out of college despite knowing his parents would be against it. Now he's helping his parents buy a house. Now I'm still a long way from my wealthy, abundant life. I'm still on Section 8 and food stamps to this day, but I know now that it's possible to obtain true wealth, even for someone like me who has all the statistics pointing to my downfall. And not only is it possible for me, it's possible for you too. I didn't want to wait until I became successful, start helping others achieve success. The Walk to Wealth movement is meant for all my fellow wealth builders who know they're meant for more, who are breaking the cycles of poverty, who want to get off the traditional track and escape the rat race. All you need to do is press subscribe right now to join the family. But don't hesitate, life isn't going to wait for you, and your dreams aren't going to wait for you either. So subscribe to the podcast and join me as we walk to wealth.